We're going to talk about I Became a Legend. That's my 10-year-long last stand, episode 2. And if you want to see the reaction to it, you can check it out on Patreon. Link in the description down below. Like, subscribe, do all the good jazz. But let's talk about the episode. So, this episode was okay, if I had to be completely honest here. I did not enjoy Off Rip as much as last episode. Because this episode, it was a continuation of last episode, which that's fine usually. But it felt anticlimactic in a way, and I'll explain why. So the fight last episode ended off with us fighting a Goblin Lord. Goblin Lord? Goblin King? Something like that. I thought it was an orc or something like that originally. But no, a Goblin Lord, and we get to see a fox girl, wolf girl come in there. We learn her name is Sia. She is like all in on trying to so she's trying to take revenge against the guy who's controlling all the monsters in this place, for her Beastkin clan, and she has a chip on her shoulder because of that. So she's combative, argumentative, and stuff like that, which is not surprising with characters that have chips on their shoulder. But then, Locke comes in and casually just cuts the Goblin King or Goblin Lord in 4 pieces, like a plus sign. Just casually cuts him in half, and I mean that was cool, but it was anticlimactic in a way. But also, after that though, she's a little surprised because that's not the kind of F rank strength skills that you would expect from an F rank. And so that's when we eventually learn that the boss controlling everything is a vampire lord. Now I called it because in the reaction something pops up and we see like the silhouette. I was like, that's a vampire, right? And it was a vampire. It's a vampire lord technically. And so what happened for the vampire lord is that Sia, her clan, was fighting. They fought vampires for centuries, generations, like that. And the vampire is like, yo, I'm gonna get out of here because he injured Sia's dad, who was a chieftain. And of all the ones to get escape, it was him, the vampire. It was a vampire lord, which was just bad luck on their part. And so now she's hunting him down, trying to find him, and she found him because she needs to get revenge and restore her clan's honor. And I mean, fair enough. I respect the move, but then Luck is rightfully like, what makes you think you can do that when you were getting beaten by a Goblin Lord, or a Goblin King or whatever? And that's a very valid question, man. But we move on to the fight because we get there pretty quickly. Vampire Lord, 10 out of 10 design, not bad. But unfortunately, he uses a spell to control people with his eyes. Unfortunately, it didn't work on Luck. Of course it would have worked on him. And I brought up the question of why do they always make it with those kind of abilities you have to have visual confirmation? I feel like there should be some kind of mental confirmation of success of using the spell or something like that. I just feel like there should be a confirmed way, instead of letting someone like Luck just pretend to be in control. But yeah, anyways, he punches him really hard, and then punches him again, and punches him again, essentially. And eventually, things wrap up. He's about to do his final move of some sort, and then Sia comes in with the sword, the Demon King's sword, that Luck let her borrow because her sword broke. Cuts him down, not her. Cuts the vampire lord down, and surprisingly, it doesn't kill him yet. Although I should say, before she does that, Luck had went in there and used Drain Touch, and I'm hoping Drain Touch is not his new finishing move for every boss battle going forward that's not a human. I just feel like that kind of, for all the power he has, he has to reuse a move like that. Whatever. I won't drop the show because of that, but it will be it'll get a little tiring maybe. But at the same time, it's not a deal breaker for me. But yeah, she cuts him down after all that happens. And now he then pulls out the sword, cuts the medallion that was in the Vampire Lord, because the Vampire Lord's like, yo, you kill me, that medallion explodes, and it creates a dimensional rift, leading to the dark gods and all that. And just to be clear, really cool that there are dark gods, and the way that they were talking about it gives me the hope that we might get to see one or two, and I hope that they're actually really strong and not easily beaten by luck. That'll be really cool to see, but that's neither here nor there. That's in the future, hopefully. So, medallion doesn't explode. Luck uses the Demon King's sword to cut it in half, and I mean, like, fair enough. Like, I saw it coming. I saw him destroying the medallion coming. I didn't know how he'd do it, but I saw it coming. And when that happened, the guy was like, impossible, what the fuck, sort of thing. And Luck's like, there won't be any demons coming, because I kicked all their asses, because the dimensional rift is where he was trapped for 10 years. And I love how it comes full circle like that. I genuinely do. A part of me thought it'd just be like a one-off, like what happened in episode 1. Wouldn't mention it or connect to it again. But the fact that this like follows through and like wraps around to being like, oh, those demons that all those demons he killed, they can't come through the portal because he kicked all their asses. I just thought that was really cool. And that is when the Vampire Lord, knowing that, seeing the sword, putting everything together, he's like, oh, you can't be. Great sage Luck. But before he could say Luck, he cuts him in half. But not quick enough. Because the, Sia, she heard enough to be like, great sage Luck? And so instead of just saying that, he just dodges the question completely. And apologized for cutting the medallion in half. And like, fair enough. That's fair, man. That's a good apology. And so, yeah. That's enough with that stuff. So they're leaving the place, and they go to catch up with Artie and Ginny, who he had sent away earlier, which is smart, obviously. And so, as they're leaving getting to the entrance, Sia is like, so Luck, asks him a question, and he responds. And the dude, I can't believe the dude is such an idiot that he responds that, because she brought that up. She was like, I said Luck, not Luck. And genuinely, I thought he'd like double down or something like that, but instead he's just like, it's a secret. And she said she'll keep the secret. So fair enough, man. And so, moving on to the guild. They get back to the guild. And so, they have a bunch of goblin gems. Goblin stones, whatever they're called. There's a lot. But not all the credit goes to him. It goes to Ginny, and Artie, and Sia, who helped out. And the receptionist apologizes for getting not for the guild not like what's the word, examining it enough to like determine the power level. Oh, there's a word for it. I'm blanking on the word right now. But she apologizes. I think she should apologize for specifically apologize to him for pressuring him into a potentially life-changing, life-ending situation. She should apologize to him for that. But, anyways, moving on. After all that's said and done, they're outside, and they're talking about Gordon giving and making sure he knows about the Vampire Lord, and to look into it, keep an eye out, stuff like that. The usual stuff. You can see my full thoughts on all that in the reaction. But then she's like, yo, here, take this. Gives him a half of the medallion to present to Gordon, the guildmaster. Which, fair enough, makes sense. And so he's like, yo, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, half is enough for me. And so they go their separate ways, but not before she says to Luck that she will keep him apprised of any information they learn about vampires. Moving forward, we then get to see him talking to Gordon. And I like Gordon a lot, man. And they have like a nice conversation, and Gordon's a little sad that he didn't say anything after being gone for 3 days. And I interpreted that as Gordon is worried about Luck not returning again for such a long time, because he couldn't see that he didn't know anything about him for 10 years. didn't know for certain if he was dead or alive. And so I think he's just like, whether he'll say it or not, I think he's worried about that still. Meanwhile, as they're talking about the Vampire Lord and all that, someone's eavesdropping. And it turns out, surprise, surprise, it's the blonde girl. And she is Gordon's daughter, the one that I forgot he had. I feel bad for forgetting that he had a daughter, man. But he had a daughter. She was eavesdropping. They're having a fight essentially because she wants to be an adventurer. He's against it. But in a few years, but in like a year or two, she'll be ready to become an adventurer, and she can do it without his permission. And so he asks Luck to keep an eye on her. And like, fair enough, man. Fair enough, but poor Luck, man, he's got a lot on his plate, man. Dealing with Vampire Lords, ranking up, keeping an eye on her. And then the episode ends with her and him having food at Gordon's place, I assume. And she drops the question. She was eyeing him this entire time with a glare. And she drops the question, "Are you Papa's illegitimate child?" And outside looking in, valid. I could see it. I could see it. Like, yeah, we know the truth, obviously, but an outsider, yeah, I could see it, man. And that's where they end the episode, man. And so, my thoughts are, as I said, it was an okay episode. It was good at times. I won't deny that. It was good. But it wasn't great like last episode was. It wasn't almost peak like last episode was. This episode was good enough for me to enjoy it and continue reacting to it and reviewing it. But my real question is, will we see Sia again? The opening and ending tell me yes. My problem is I don't want to. I'll be fine with seeing her again as long as she's not reduced to just a annoying love interest chasing after him. If she is, I won't want that, man. But at the same time, it is what it is. It's par for the course with this kind of show, so I'm not too hung up on it. But depending on how everything goes, I might jog for that, but probably not. I am enjoying this enough. As long as we see Eric again. But to be fair to Eric, he is like the king or whatever, so like, fair enough. I don't expect us to see him every episode. Gordon, I do expect to see him at least once an episode because he's a guild master. But Eric, he gets a pass. But with that said, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. You can check out a reaction over on Patreon. And you also get exclusives and shoutouts, as always. But yeah, I have nothing else to say. I did enjoy this episode, so I will see you all in the very next video. Until next time, my name is Bart. Never stop being yourself, stay different, and I will see all you incredible people in the very next video.